Oh, I wish they
And for the
would.
positive, it might be another opportunity to adjust the rate of adjustments down depending upon how conditions change. But I think just staying on top of it, whether it's annual or biannually, has really helped you to have good decision options in front of you now about how to manage the utility in a responsible way without having significant rate spikes for customers. So whenever that is, we'll be happy to be back. If it's 2 years, we'll see y'all in 2 years.
You certainly helped me with your stats and so forth. I appreciate
Yeah,
the
that's
work
our
you gotta
pleasure.
do. It certainly boils it down to something I can understand.
Yeah, we hope so. There's a lot of numbers running behind the scenes, so
I
I
bet.
appreciate that comment. We try and bring it back to a level that you all can understand
Yeah,
the
that was
decisions
something
from.
that we talked, I talked to Jim, I said, Jim, I said, we've got to bring them back.
I'm happy with 30% reduction on impact fees. I think it's gonna help us.
And
I
if
really
it
do.
keeps us
Yeah.
staying at
Yeah.
the status quo to be able to put
Yeah.
more people online,
Yeah.
y'all, that's the only way to bring these rates down, is to get more people online.
Well, when people ask you about what are you doing for economic development, look,
Well,
we
this
have
is what
control
we're
over
gonna do.
impact fees, and guess what? We just reduced ours 30%.
That's right.
Right.
Well, Jim, I know we can't vote on anything, but I think if it came down to a straw poll right now, I would definitely say, you know, we're showing less of an increase than what we planned if we stick status quo. We're also dropping 30% on impact fees. I would be all for, not option A, but the status quo at this point.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I'm happy with that.
I feel the same way.
I think we all agree.
That's a good decision.
They're
We're
stacked
heading in the right
correctly.
direction, we just need a little help. We need
I mean,
to go a little faster.
Well, and John will be happy too.
I think that's a good.
But I would not tell John.
Don't tell him.
You can't watch your videos, sir.
So Mike, you're gonna rerun the budget with those numbers?
Yes, I'll rerun the budget with that, with those revenue numbers, and that will allow us to build in the reserve, and then it would also allow us to look at some of the Cape projects that we talked about, the continuing the expansion of our lines in the Cape.
Exactly. Hey, I got a question that's a little bit off kilter, but I was just called about it today, so maybe you guys can talk about that this week. In St. Joe Beach, I know a lot of the water lines that were ran, they were ran with a meter and then a box that's a green box that in case they wanted to use it for irrigation. So I guess they have to pay for a meter. Is that correct? or
That would
incorrect?
be an installer doing that. We're setting a box and a connection with a piece of pipe and just a.
No, that's what I'm
No,
thinking it
and
is.
if you're looking, I'm not sure what they already have established there, but basically if somebody wants to put an irrigation meter in, it's $450. We come set the meter, plumber comes to it. Separate meter, we don't charge sewer side on it.
Well, the question this guy was to me, he thought that was too much money. He said, but if we could go, if you could put it in there, he said, I'm gonna use it. And if you could get the rates down on there, is it just that that's how much maybe?
Well, a meter,
Trying to cover
that's
the
pretty
meter?
cheap because what you're looking at, last time I priced, I think John said a regular 5/8" meter is $200-something. So basically, you're looking at $200-something for the meter itself and basically $200.
And I'm not arguing that point except for the point that he did say that those things are all over St. Joe Beach. I wonder how much revenue we would get out of them if we had some of them going for, if we
You
could
know, we
take.
haven't sold too many because most people are letting them put down a well.
I
It's just
didn't know
because
about
it's so much cheaper.
When you do the summary, when I do the analysis and calculate how much water that they're taking off of their current bill, it averages out, if you're using 6,000 gallons a month in irrigation only, then it makes sense for you to switch over to an irrigation meter. That's a lot of water. You know, because they still have the base charge, they're still gonna be paying the water rates.
Same as a residential.
Just no sewer.
So I've done analysis on it to see, you know, because they're taking $6.82, and they're saving $6.82 per thousand on their sewer bill, and switching that. So I've done that
Not grand,
calculation.
Yeah, unless you're using a ton of it.
Unless
it's
you
not
use
that
6,000 gallons, it doesn't make any sense financially for you to put an irrigation meter
We haven't sold.
in. You
bad.
know,
Well, his
so I
comment
try to
was
be
that
honest.
somebody along the way, probably grant money, ran all these water lines for what purpose?
We got all that from the county, so it varies neighborhood to neighborhood.
Okay.
So half the time someone calls in, I'm discouraging them. I'm trying to be honest with
Well,
them,
we
you know.
We do too.
I don't want someone who's using 2,000 or 3,000 gallons to buy an irrigation meter when it costs them more than,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, so.
Okay.
So I discourage a lot of people, you know, with that information.
Makes sense.
I did sell one today though, in fact. a lady here in town.
Give
Go-
it discounts.
Going forward, Mike, since you based this budget off of option B, if there is gonna be a substantial savings on the water side, not sewer, is there any way that we can set up a contingency to start figuring out what we're gonna do with these filters at the plant as they start going bad?
Well, we worked in,
Can we set up a fund?
well, yeah, that's certainly something we could do with the water side of the house. We worked in the CIP, 600,000 in 2019 in our capital improvement plan in this rate study. And I believe that's what that is for, is the filters. Yeah,
They got a lot of
It's about 600,000 if I was there.
yeah. So 2019, we have 600,000 worked into the rate study. So we're saying,
Warranty runs out about then.
And
Yeah, it
we
does.
could see a reduction in price on those filters by then, that being
It was
such,
new
that
technology.
being such a new.
we did, I think we factored in 30% in grant on that. I think we factored in the grant. So, you know,
As long as there's a plan.
This-
That's all I'm saying. I hate to have to
this
get
is
them up
why
there.
we really like the conservative status quo approach, because, you know, we have the capital in the rate study, and we're assuming we're gonna be able to get help with all of these projects on the most part, but we don't know, you know, so,
So it's not too soon to start asking for grant money. I know,
Yeah.
just a lot of those are looking like they're in real bad shape.
Yeah.
Even if we could do 1/6 of them every year,
yeah.
it'd be something.
that'd
We
be
would
a-
rather have this money sitting in these accounts where you got options to do
Yeah.
stuff, if something's
So,
needed.
so that's, that makes sense on the water side, is to start an escrow on that project, and then on the
So
sewer.
whatever savings that we get, if we could see that actualized in an actual
You're talking about
contingency
between the
fund.
options.
Between option
Right.
B
The
and
increased-
status quo, if
the
we can take that
increased
savings and
revenue.
put it into an account.
Absolutely.
Back into it.
And that's the approach that the city has never implemented, and that is forward-thinking, saving and planning. And we're doing that on the fire engine, we're doing that, you
It's
know,
not
so.
a new idea, Mike.
No, well, it is, well, we never had to, we had the
It's never
paper
been
mill,
done
we
in
had
Fort St. Joe.
industry, we never had to, you know?
12 million one time, you know?
So yeah, I'll work that, and then on the sewer side, I'll work in the infrastructure additions to continue that plan out on the Cape, which I think would benefit us tremendously. That will really help us with the growth.
Yeah, I think we can tap in the sewer. I think we're gonna be okay on the sewer side. The water's more worse than the main because we're just not getting the water pressure. We need industry.
Reserves are a little bit lower there.
That's a good idea on the water side,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
We need to be sure that once we adopt this, that we go ahead though, y'all, and really market that 30% off on the impact fees. I'll give it to Christie and the PDC and whoever else. We need to just blast it out there.
Residential builders, I mean, any contractor.
Anybody we know that's.
I think too, if you got a big enough industry, you could even go further, you know, on a one-time deal, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not sure we can, because what Andrew said, you can't discriminate between commercial
A lot
and
of-
residential.
A lot of places do that, though, they'll waive the impact fees.
Well, yeah, they
Big-
waive
It's
it.
across the board though, it's not just for a one large industrial user, it's generally throughout
I
the
mean, in the
entire
past, I've
community.
heard of them though, coming in, that big industry coming in.
Yeah,
and
they
they
got
say,
economic incentive plans.
we're gonna give you this incentive, we're gonna waive these, you know?
So, but part of the issue too could be in those agreements, and you have to look at them very closely too, is if they make any type of capital infrastructure contributions, the industry, that gives the basis for waiving certain impact fees because they're contributing certain facilities and dedicating them over to the local government,
Well,
so.
they run their own
yeah,
water
there's-
lines.
Right, they run the line.
Yeah, or they build pumps, or if they do other things, you know, that's sometimes the basis for waiving
That's why we
fees
have
on
an attorney.
an agreement basis, but have to have a very strong rationale for doing it.
Right.
So then, Jim, do you want to recap the schedule going forward?
Yes, we're on for Thursday at 5:01, that's your first public hearing. That's where you'll formally vote on the budget itself. Tonight, Mike has gave you a comprehensive roadmap of where we're at with the budget. We'll take the information you gave us tonight too, indicates our 2.75% on water, 3.75% on sewer, 30% reduction on impact fees. So we'll implement that into the budget moving forward for Thursday. So that's the big first milestone. Then from there, we'll have to amend our ordinance on our impact fees and on our utility rates.
which will take about a 30-day to 45-day process on that, so.
So we're gonna have to suspend our current rates, is that correct? We're not gonna be able to have them in place by
Yeah, we'll look at what
October
our
1.
option on that, but yes, we're gonna move forward ahead to get these changed for you. Yes. Because 10/1 is when they're effective to go back in your update on your current rate schedule, so we'll get that changed, yes. Any other questions?
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Well,
Vote.
Ronnie, you wanna come say hi? I just wanted to introduce everybody to Ronnie, our new chamber director. I don't know if you all had a chance to meet her. She wanted to come and talk. Probably not the best venue to ask for any money, maybe Thursday.
Yes, I did want to just kind of introduce myself. I'm Ronnie. I'm the new Chamber of Commerce Director. Been there for just now 2 months. And I hate to meet you on this circumstance, and I know this isn't a voting arena, but I would like to be considered to be part of the budget for the next fiscal year.
What brings you
Chamber
here,
of
Ronnie?
Commerce.
Tell us your story.
My story, my personal story or my business story?
Ronnie's with your husband's military.
He is. My husband
and
is
they're
active
retiring
duty.
here.
He's stationed at Tyndall Air Force Base right now. He's getting ready to retire next year. We have 2 children that are in school. That's why I was a little late and had to drop the soccer kids off. And we plan on retiring here. Jumpstart my career, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I don't know where the money's coming from, but.
Oh, I know, but
We
you
used to
know,
get 25,000 a year, and so did the county, and it was not personal. A lot of people all over town said, oh, it's personal, the city took the money out. You see what we're doing tonight?
I do see what you're doing tonight, but
We're scraping pennies to try to help our people.
you should see what I'm gonna be able to do for the small businesses here too, though. I'm already making an impact in the 2 months that I've been here, and it's gonna just help me so much more. if I
Can you
get
let people
the
know we have a
support.
30% impact fee reduction?
I will let you, I will.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Good job as always.